Hey guys, it's 𝗧𝗛𝗡𝗚𝗏 here, and welcome back to another build challenge. So, as you can tell from the title of today's video, we have a very interesting renovation ahead of us. But of course, we have a very huge twist, and the twist is the fact that I can only replace objects on this lot in order to renovate it. So I can change out things like furniture, appliances, windows, doors, plants, but anything that is added must take the place of another object. Now, of course, I am giving myself the liberty of actually deleting objects completely, or leaving in objects I think actually work with this build. But other than that, I don't really have any other build restrictions, and I do want to see how far we can actually push this build. Alright, so going into the lot itself, this is the Garden Essence lot in the world of Willow Creek, and this is actually home to the 3 best friends. Honestly, they are probably my favorite family in the Sims 4 base game, and they have a pretty interesting house to work with. We have 3 pretty unique bedrooms, a pretty large, somewhat open concept kitchen and living room area, and of course we have a nice sizable backyard as well. So lots of fun stuff to work with, and I want to see what we can do with this lot. Alright, so starting things off, I do want to modernize this build a little bit. We do have to keep these columns, but let me see if we have some better options. Alright, I'm going to play it safe, you guys. Let me do a little bit of get together first, and I will go for more of a nice wood tone like this. Alright, 1, 2, 3. Let's add a few more over here, just like so. I'm going at this very cautiously because I have terrible memory. So if I delete all the columns at once, I will not for the life of me remember where they went originally. Okay, these railings certainly have to go. Let's see what we have available. Honestly, I'm not really sure which railing will do the trick. We definitely want something more modern, so I'm thinking we could do either eco lifestyle, or we could even be a little bit adventurous and do this option from Seasons. Ooh, we do have Snowy Escape. This could actually be kind of interesting. Something like this. The flooring is a little bit too dark for my taste. Could I lighten it up? All right, let's do a little bit of base game here. And I will also find some stairs to match it. I think these stairs are a little bit too bright. I can't really tell with all the shadows, but I think it's kind of close. Ooh, better yet, I do like this option from Cottage Living, so let me stick with that. I will update the railings on the stairs as well. All right, this foundation is super dark, you guys. Let's see what we have available. I could do something a little bit more straightforward like this if we're going more contemporary. So let me try out this option for now. This trim is huge. Not really in line with the style. I do think we need something a little bit more simple. All right, roof is interesting. Obviously, the entire shape will stay intact, but we can change the roof material itself. Question is, what will work? And I'm thinking maybe something like this, some kind of sheet metal just like so. If we are modernizing this house, we do have quite a bit of options. I could go with maybe some kind of wood paneling like this. That could be pretty interesting. All right, do we have more options for vinyl siding? I sure hope so. The trims also need to be fixed because they are pretty dark. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, I think this is looking a little bit better. The door definitely needs to be fixed. So let me do that. It's also off on the tiles a little bit, which we can actually fix. Let me go ahead and delete this. Ooh, we do have this from the Get Together pack. This is actually pretty cool. I will probably have to change out the vinyl siding though, because I'm not really sure if it is going with the look. The windows certainly need to be updated, and I do have to remember that the windows actually had curtains on them as well. So if I do want curtains, I can add them in the future. But yeah, here we go. Bye-bye for now. All right, so we had 3 narrow windows going across, and to replace them, let me see what we do have available. Could do some island living just like this, and maybe bump them up a little bit. Ooh, we do have this option from base game, which actually could work. Let me delete these options for now and see if this can fit. Is the vinyl working here? I don't think it is. I don't think it is, you guys. It feels a little bit weird. Let me see what else we have for wall swatches. Can we update these railings? Possibly. We could do something like this from 𝗧𝗛𝗏𝗡𝗚 if we are being very modern here. And honestly, I don't really mind them too much at all. All right, and we go back to the whole door and window situation, which I'm really not sure of. Let me try a more modern option for the windows to see if that works a little bit better. Let us try some of these options from the 𝗧𝗛𝗏𝗡𝗚 pack. Because I do like the subtle tint that they have, so that could be a little bit more effective for this build. All right, the roof is too dark now. Can I get a better swatch? I sure hope so. All right, as much as I like this blue, I think it feels a little bit off. Can I do something lighter like this, perhaps? Ooh, we do have my favorite option here, which could do the trick. We can also change out this flooring as well, so let me go ahead and delete this. Not really sure what is going to fit here, but we do need some kind of outdoor tile in this space. So we could do maybe something like this going down. This is not too bad. All right, could we do some gravel? We certainly want to update this mailbox, and automatically I'm thinking of the get together option, so I will put it roughly in the same place the original mailbox was. I'm not really sure about this door now, you guys. I feel like it's a little bit too much for this build, and I would like to see more glass as well. So let me see what options we do have available. Alternatively, we can go back to some of the eco lifestyle options, which honestly I do enjoy quite a bit. So we did have this one as a potential option. Can we recolor it to something that fits? Maybe this option. This is kind of interesting. Honestly, these windows don't match perfectly, but I can use this wood tone to kind of homogenize it just a little bit more. So this is a possibility. All right, second thoughts on the wood now. Could I do this option from base game just for a little bit more texture? Honestly, I do want to apologize in advance, you guys, because I'm kind of scattered everywhere. I'm going back and changing my decisions, but hopefully this will all work out in the end. Ooh, we do have this little breakfast nook, and I think windows are missing? I'm not really sure if that's my fault, but I think I will complete the 3 windows going across. I probably deleted something by accident, so we're going to go with that. Ooh, that is a pretty nice view. I do like that. All right, what else can we change outside? We can change out a lot of the foliage because it's honestly not too bad, but I think we can create something a little bit more dynamic. Ooh, maybe some island living could do the trick here. That could be fairly nice. Ooh, we do have some fun stuff from the romantic garden pack, which could be very useful here. I do like these very tall plants like this kind of poking through, so that is a possibility. All right, one more over here, sticking with the original placement, and I think this isn't looking too bad at all. All right, next on the agenda is the whole tree situation, which honestly, I don't really mind the trees too much, but let me see if there is something a little bit more fitting. All right, we do have this option from base game sized up, so let me see how this would work out. If not, we can also go into debug as well, and maybe something like this, or maybe even something larger like this, sized down ever so slightly. It's not really filling the space too well. I think that was the best feature of the original trees. Whoa, okay. When we said tree, we really meant a large tree here. The problem is, you guys, I think the lot is so big that we need larger trees to fill the void. So I think maybe one of these options could actually do the trick here. Honestly, you guys, I think this tree is somewhat close to the option we had originally, but I think it more or less works, so let me go ahead and use it. All right, next on the agenda is probably the fence, because the fence is just not fitting with the rest of this build. So let me see what we have available. We do have these really interesting eco lifestyle fences, which could be kind of interesting if I'm being honest. I think the only thing I don't really like about it, if we're thinking realistically, they don't really offer much privacy. Like, there's tons of peepholes here. You know, if someone's walking by, they can see all of your business. So not really my favorite in that regard. We do also have this option from Snowy Escape, and we can go lighter just like this if we wanted to, which wouldn't look too bad if I'm being honest with you guys. Alternatively, what we could do is actually use hedges for the bottom fence piece. So I could keep the fence piece on the outside deck, but then use hedges towards this area. So this could be a possibility. All right, you guys, I think I will commit to this. It's not really a typical option I would use, but I think it does look fairly interesting. All right, so looking at the back patio, there's really not too much here, but I do want to upgrade this little grill area here. We do have this option from the Desert Luxe pack, which is almost kind of working. I can kind of scooch it against the wall just like this. Let us also update this dining area, and let me see what options we do have. Ooh, we do have this option from the garden pack, summer splash pack, backyard stuff pack. I'm getting all the names mixed up, you guys. I'm sure it's one of those things, but honestly, this option is looking really solid. All right, I think this option is the one, you guys. It's really fun and colorful, which I think will liven up the backyard space. But we do need 4 dining chairs that will take the place of the original ones. All right, we have to fit 4 chairs in here. So there's 1, there's 2, 3, 4. Okay, so they're not really in the same exact spot as the other chairs, but I think it's fairly close enough, so that could do the trick there. All right, we do have a little sitting area here as well, and I do want to match the dining area to some extent. So let me see what we have to work with. We could do something like this from Seasons, which actually would be fairly nice. Somebody had a field day with these colors, but they're making it hard for me because nothing is quite fitting. We do have more stuff from the summer pack, which could be interesting. I can actually match the fabric of the umbrella, but I don't know if that's a little bit too on the nose. It's a little bit much. I'm getting the feeling that this was sold as an entire set, so I don't really like that. Ooh, you know what? We do have these options from the Eco Lifestyle pack, which honestly do look like outdoor furniture pieces. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the three best friends actually made these sofas, because all of them are actually pretty handy. Not to mention, if they are living together, they do want to make sure that costs are fairly low, so if you need to DIY something, absolutely do it. All right, we're going for rustic industrial chic, and it will have to do, you guys. All right, in terms of the planter boxes, I honestly don't really mind them too much. And in terms of colors, they actually blend in, so I think they're going to be one of the only pieces of this build that actually remain on the lot, so I think we are good there. All right, so the last thing I want to do is actually clean up a lot of the landscaping. So I do want to keep the general areas of where elements were painted on the lot, but just clean them up ever so slightly. All right, let me see if I can actually swap out some of this soil texture for some gravel just like this. I think it could be a really nice accent for the lot itself. All right, let me also change out the soil texture here, and I will use this option instead. All right, same thing under the trees, just adding a little bit more soil like this, and I will do the same on this tree as well. All right, I think we are all set here, and we will get started on the inside of this house, which honestly I think is going to be a lot of fun. I definitely want the look to feel a lot more contemporary, so maybe a solid swatch could do the trick. That is a possibility. Let me try this blue option to start things off and then see where this takes us. The door actually blends in, which is kind of interesting. It happened haphazardly, but it could actually work. All right, the TV is a little bit plain, but we could use a fancier option from City Living, just like this. All right, we do have some floor lamps here, but let me update them to the Tiny Living pack because I think this will fit the vibe perfectly here. Could we go just a little tiny bit brighter on the walls? I do want to bring just a little bit more color in this space. All right, let me try out this tone to start with. Not really sure if I'm going to commit to it because I'm not quite sure what the color scheme is exactly in this house. But let us update the flooring. Ooh, I do like this from the Vampires pack, so this could actually do the trick. All right, we can get rid of this bookcase. Let me see if there is a better option. I would say maybe Seasons. Maybe Seasons could do the trick here. Honestly, I really like this option from the Tiny Living pack. And what I'm actually going to do is combine them to create a larger bookcase to kind of mirror what we had before. This coffee table, though, it's not helping anybody. It just doesn't make sense here. So let me use something else. I think that was actually a dining table that was used in this space, which is very odd. All right, couch needs to go. I thought about Tiny Living again, but let me see if it actually fits with this space. Ooh, we even have this from Eco Lifestyle. This is beautiful. Could we get funky and use this option from Cottage Living? Maybe, just to add a different flavor to the room? The rug has to go for sure, so let me see what we do have available. Let me go for something maybe a little bit on the warmer side perhaps, and see where that takes us. I'm probably going to change out the couch as well because I don't really think it's fitting with the look anymore. All right, let me put you right here just like so. And for the chair, you also will be swapped out. I do want something with color though, so that is a little bit concerning. We did have this option from Tiny Living, which could do the trick. Plant is not really fitting too well in this space any longer, so let me see if there is a better option. All right, I'm trying the group of plants, but everything is so dull, and that's just not really working with what I want. Let me bring back maybe the option from Seasons. If we swap out this very abstract coffee table, could we do maybe Parenthood? Parenthood could work. But swatches are a little bit concerning here. Ooh, I actually don't mind this option too much. It doesn't really match very well with the rest of the objects, but somehow the muted tone actually works, and it kind of mirrors the door. So let me try that option out. I will also replace this end table over here. Ooh, alternatively, there is this option from the Eco Lifestyle pack. So let me try this out. I will probably use a matching wood tone as well. All right, next up, we do have to get rid of these paintings. And I think I can actually use the objects that came with Tiny Living and to see what we have to work with. Honestly, I really hate how dark it is in this section of the build because you just can't really see these paintings too well. So I'm going to keep seeing if there are better options, but if not, I think these are going to have to do. The next thing, of course, is this very dark kitchen, but it does have a lot of space to work with. We do also have a bar here, so let me see what we can do with this space. So let me try out this option. I will delete this and bring this one on down just like so. We do have this bar as well, which honestly does not have terrible swatches. Okay, so let's get the matching countertop. And I think you were... Which one were you? Okay, I think you were this one. And then let me recolor you like so. All right, we're going in. We are matching the cabinets to the best of our ability. And I think it will be an upgrade. It's not really my favorite swatch, but I think it'll have to do. Now, it is very possible that the lighting situation could be fixed, and maybe that could give us better results. So hopefully we can change that as well. Ooh, you know what? I think these mason jars could actually be pretty cool. I don't really use them at all, so this could be a first. Honestly, you guys, I kind of wish we weren't held back by the bar, but unfortunately, this is what we are working with. What I think I will do is try to find a better wallpaper to use with this section, because we do need to liven up this space a little bit more. All right, thankfully, we can get rid of the appliances. So let me go ahead and maybe use this option from Parenthood. I think that fits in there fairly decently. And for the stove, I'm not really sure. I'm thinking we could actually do this one from base game, and it does sort of fit with the look of the fridge itself. All right, let's change out this hideous tile. It certainly needs to go. I could do a triangular piece like this and then have it lead into the kitchen itself. So that's not too bad. Ooh, could we do something like this? No. That does not work. Okay, that is way too rustic. Probably not that one. We could do more wood, but I don't really want to do wood on wood, if that makes sense. I could even use something like this from Eco Lifestyle to create another unique tile moment. So we do have something like this. I could also maybe darken these counters. Maybe this option. Okay, could I use this instead? I'm running out of options. I'm just not really liking the options I have to work with. So I could do maybe this one. This one is not too bad if it will work with the rest of the house. Let me go ahead and replace these cabinets again. Ooh, we do have these beautiful options from 𝗧𝗛𝗡𝗚, which kind of blend in. Let me see if I can actually make these work. All right, I think we're going places, you guys. I do like this. I will leave the smoke alarm here as well. It doesn't seem like we can recolor it. And for the trash, I will keep a trash bin here, but let me swap it out and place it in a slightly better location. All right, for the new bar stools, I'm thinking we could actually do Tiny Living. So let's do 3 of these across, just like the original. I also want to vary some of the cabinets. So if we have some that have maybe dishes inside, that could be really cool. But it doesn't look like these have any options available. Can I blend in one of these? Maybe I could do maybe some up here just like this, have some go across, and then maybe a smaller piece on top of the fridge. All right, I do think this is looking better now. Even though it is a little bit mix and match, it actually does kind of work. So let me do this. We do have to update the little sitting area as well. And we have a small dining table with 3 chairs. So let me see what will fit here. All right, maybe this from City Living. This could be an interesting start. And let me see what nice dining chairs we do have available. Honestly, you guys, I am partial to using more of Tiny Living because I do like the bright colors that they do have, and we certainly need some bright colors in this kitchen. One thing that is still left is this little corkboard over here, which really feels out of place. Let me see if there is a better wall decal instead. All right, and what do we have available here? That is the question. We could do something like this. This could be a nice little moment. The problem is the wall is pretty big, so I'm wondering if there is something better that could possibly fill it. Honestly, I do enjoy this object from the Snowy Escape pack, and it may be a little bit of a weird place for this content, but it may actually fit. So maybe along the wall just like this, roughly where that corkboard used to be. Hey guys, it's 𝗧𝗛𝗡𝗞𝗦 off camera here, and unfortunately I completely forgot about the kitchen sink. But lo and behold, here it is. It will not make it into the final build tour, but we will get back to the build challenge right now. Alright, I think that wraps up the kitchen space. The next thing we have to do is work on the individual bedrooms. The first thing we need to do, however, is actually replace these doors because they don't really quite fit with the style of this build. So let me see what we do have available. And I'm thinking possibly base game could do the trick here. Alright, so getting started on Summer's bedroom. Honestly, as a sim, it's a little bit hard to place her, but she does seem like a very outgoing person. She does seem very fashionable, and I think I did put her on the fashion career track in the game itself, so I do want to cater to that aspect of her personality. Let us change out this wallpaper to get things started. Alright, if we are looking at pink, we do have a lot of options available. I'm thinking we could do something soft, maybe something like this. Bed can certainly be swapped out. I'm just not really sure what will work best. I always really enjoy this eco lifestyle option, so this could do the trick here. Alright, let's take out the nightstands and the lampshades and hopefully find something a little bit more fitting. Alright, for the lamps themselves, I'm thinking we could actually do the Seasons lamps. They are my favorite, but I do think they work in this space quite well. Alright, for Summer, let me see what we have to work with. I do like some of these really interesting base game posters, and I actually think they do fit with her personality. Ooh, I like this swatch a lot more now. It actually blends in with the bed a little bit. I'm still weary about the nightstands themselves. Honestly, this parenthood option is actually not too bad. I feel like Summer would be a very organized person, and this certainly looks like it fits her. Okay, we do have a bookcase here, but I'm not really sure if I want to keep it. We do have some that mount on the wall, but they're not really too great. All right, guys, let me get creative a little bit. I'm going to use this shelf from the Eco Lifestyle pack. And on its own, it doesn't really function as a bookcase, but if I do put books on top of it, it will satisfy the need in this room. So I think that will do the trick because nothing else was really working in the bookcase category. So hopefully this creative solution will suffice. All right, can we bump you up just like so? Yes, roughly. This base game rug is actually not too bad. It does fit with the whole color scheme, which is quite nice. And I don't really have to resize it, so I think that is fine for now. Let me get the variation of these shoes as well. All right, we do have the option to change out this dresser, I think? I thought it was an end table at first, but I'm pretty sure it is a dresser. So we can get this out for a better option. Okay, I think I will stick with the theme of her nightstands and do parenthood once more. So let me go ahead and delete this option just like this. The mirror can also be updated, so let me see what we have. Alright guys, let's just do parenthood once more. It sort of fits her personality with those little flowers in there. I do have to bring back some clutter though, because I did delete that earlier. Okay, parenthood again, here we go. We do have a makeup tray, which is pretty nice. Alright, for privacy screens, we don't really have a lot of options, but I think this one could do the trick. It still fits with the rest of the theme of her room. Alright, and can we get some curtains in here? I sure hope so, because these windows are huge, you guys. We could do maybe some seasons up along the windows like this. Alright, we now move on to Travis's room, and Travis, from my knowledge, is a tech geek. He's into computers and video games, so let us see what we can do with his space. So starting things off, let us upgrade his desk, and I think we can do more of a gamer setup if that makes sense. I'm going to use this option that I believe is from City Living. Can we get a better gaming chair? I think we can, maybe with this option. We certainly have some very cool computers here, and I think I will possibly go with maybe this one. It seems more like a custom built machine, so perhaps this could do the trick. We could even be on the nose and use a plumb bob like this. That could actually be really cool. He does also have a very strange nightlight over here, which maybe the plumb bob could take the place of. So let me go ahead and do that. I'll move this over here like this. He has an old-fashioned camera, which is pretty interesting. But if we are pulling from this same category of clutter, what is going to fit in this space? Ooh, we do have these really cool figurines. This could almost be like a Funko Pop, maybe from a favorite anime. I also want to replace this painting because it's very weird. It just doesn't really make sense with his room. We could do either a poster or a painting here. Ooh, we actually have some pretty cool options here. He could be kind of old school and like something like Tetris, so maybe this could be the new wall art perhaps. Honestly, I really like this poster option as well, which I guess I could put over here in place of these paintings. It's kind of like an old school fighting game, if that makes sense, so I think that should suffice. Also going to swap out the backpack to something that would fit his personality a little bit better, and I think maybe something like this could do the trick. Or we could even do maybe this one. Kind of reminds me of a void critter, so maybe referencing Pokemon or something like that. Oh, he does have a guitar, so he does have some interest in music. Let us see what else we have available here. Honestly, you guys, I think this freezer bunny option is pretty fun, so I think I may try it out and put it in the corner just like that. I do want to get rid of these paintings though, because they're not really making sense with his room. Alternatively, I can delete one painting and just have one more object. And I'm thinking there is an object that was in Parenthood that does have a cool collection of posters within it. So let me see if I can find that option. All right, I think that looks pretty cool. I do like that. Let me see if there's something that is maybe a little bit more industrial, perhaps. All right, let's try out this option like this. I think this could be a good possibility. All right, and for a new rug, let us see what we have to work with. We do have some pretty edgy options that are from the Get Together pack, which I don't think I've ever used in my builds, but for once they could actually fit his personality. The bed certainly needs to be changed out. I do want to see if there is something better. Could we do Parenthood here? I think we could. Let's see if there are better swatches. Ooh, there is this one. This one actually is pretty cool. All right, the dresser situation definitely needs to be updated. Let me see if we have something that would fit his room slightly better than what it does now. Ooh, yeah, I think this is working pretty well. The curtains can change. I do like that they're blocked out. Let me try these blinds from base game just like so. And we have a little bit of light, a little tiny bit of light peeking through. So that's an improvement, I would say. All right, let's upgrade that music system. And we can probably do maybe this option from the City Living pack. I almost thought it was Spa Day. We do have another light here, which is the little robot lamp, which honestly, I don't really mind too much. That could be another element that stays with this part of the build. All right, what is in here that could work? I'm not really too sure. Ooh, we have a robot head. That's kind of fun. I don't really know what it does, but it does look pretty cool. For some reason, I'm really drawn to this eco lifestyle object, so I think I'll actually use it in this space. I think it could be a soda perhaps if he's doing some kind of all-night gaming stream, so I think this option could be pretty cool here. Now for the mirrors, I'm not really sure if there is a better option for them. We could do something smaller like this, but honestly, I don't really mind the mirrors as they are right now. Let me just scooch this one over ever so slightly so that the room is more symmetrical, if that makes sense. And I think as a last note, we will recolor this bedroom. All right, for Travis's room, I think a darker tone like this could be really nice. So let's do this and boom, there we go, perfect. Oh, wait a second, it deleted my soda. What the heck? Where are you, Eco Lifestyle? Because that should not have happened. All right, put you back in place, and hopefully the wallpaper doesn't delete you again, but I think we should be all set with Travis's room. All right, we move on to Liberty Lee, if I'm not mistaken, and she is very much into science, but she does seem to have a very bubbly personality, so I think that explains why her room looks the way it does. But let us see what we can do with this space. Starting things off, her desk is actually fairly nice. I don't really mind it, but I feel like she would have a nice computer setup over here instead of just a tablet. So let me see if we have something more fitting for her. Ooh, let's do this option. It does look pretty sleek, pulling from the Get to Work pack. And let us get a new lamp as well. I think I do want to stick to her more playful side, so maybe I could bring back this panda lamp. Color scheme is a little hard for her. I'm not really sure what the best direction is. I do want to get rid of these books and the dresser though, because they are a little bit quirky for my taste. All right, I'm going to be bold and use this option from the Eco Lifestyle pack. I think this is fairly modern, but it does fit her vibe. The bookcase definitely has to go. It is a little bit too childlike for this space. All right, I think I like this option once more from the Tiny Living pack, and I think it will fit her personality a little bit better. Better yet, I could actually do 2 of these from the Tiny Living pack, or simply just 1. I think there was only a lamp and some books there, but I can actually delete the lamp and just have the books instead. All right, that's looking good. Let me go ahead and delete this chair for now and find a more interesting option. Better yet, I actually like a lot of these eco lifestyle options. So maybe one of these could do the trick in the corner just like this. One thing I do want to change about this room is the wallpaper, because I do think it is a little bit too strong for Liberty Lee. So let me see if there is something more suitable. Ooh, I don't really mind this too much. I think this works pretty well. We can probably tone down some of these options though, because now that we have teal everywhere, we don't really need teal in every aspect of this room. Let me change out this rug because I don't really think it matches with the room at all. Ooh, I do like this rug quite a bit. It's very geometric, which I feel does fit with her interests. So maybe something like this for the bed. I'm not really sure what is going to work better than the current option because I don't really mind it too much at all. But let us see if there is something else. Ooh, I do like the look of this snowy escape bed. This could be a possibility. I could put it along the wall just like this and hopefully substitute these nightstands as well because they no longer fit with the space. All right, let me see if I can bring back lamps in this space. And I could even use more seasons here because they do add a nice glow. So maybe this option could do the trick. I could also bring back just 1 robot, just like it was originally in the room. So that could be a nice nod to the original bedroom. I'm still not sure about the bed, you guys. I do like this bed, but I feel like she would be using something a little bit more modern. So maybe something like this could do the trick, pulling from the Eco Lifestyle pack. All right, I think I will tone down these walls just a little bit. I'm gonna go for more of a minty green, which is still a nice homage to her colors. All right, can we enhance this desk? Yes, this actually does match the rest of the furniture. And let me get a new desk chair as well. All right, so I think I'll leave this clothing object here. This painting just doesn't really fit anymore. I think we can find something better. Automatically, my mind goes to get to work. And I think something like this could be really cool. Kind of thinking about outer space. We could even do a rocket launch, perhaps. All right, you guys, the final room is the bathroom, which does need quite an upgrade in here. So let me go ahead and get things started. We definitely want to replace the tile in this space. And I think we could maybe do this option from base game. I don't really mind this too much. For the toilet, let us get maybe the Tiny Living toilet instead. The medicine cabinet is very old looking for this build. So let me see if there is a better option available. Ooh, perfect. I'm going to use some Parenthood just like this and hopefully update the counters as well. We don't have a rounded corner, unfortunately, but this should still do the trick. So let me move this out of the way. The bathroom sink actually works. It's a very standard bathroom sink, but it does fit the vibe. All right, we do have a shower as well, which we could actually get a larger one if we wanted to. And if we did this option from Parenthood, it would give us room for more color. Hopefully, we do have some really fun options that could actually work. So if we want to do a little bit of light blue, we could do this really fun swatch, which could be kind of interesting. I feel like it is in line with the personalities of these Sims, so it's not too far of a stretch. Unfortunately, there is only 1 towel, which is very suspicious. I don't know where all the other towels are in this build, but let me see if I can find a better option for that. We do have this from Seasons, which at least has another towel, but I think that's the best we can do with this object, you guys. We can also change out this clutter over here, and I kind of like this hairdryer object from the Parenthood pack, which is fairly realistic for this space. The toilet paper we can keep. I'm just going to move it a little bit closer to the toilet because it was soaring high. It was soaring high a little bit. All right, and for the curtain, I think I will go super simple and use this base game option just like so, and keep that full privacy intact. All right, guys, so we are more or less done with the object swap renovation, and overall, I am very happy with how this build came out. I would say that going into the build itself, this is certainly a lot more modern and contemporary than what we started with. We changed the windows, the doors, the wallpaper, the roofs, pretty much everything on this lot, including the landscaping. But of course, this lot had a lot of wonderful things to work with. We had a lot of foliage we could change out. But the big feature, of course, is this wonderful backyard area, which honestly is a little bit sparse. But it is a great place to have Sims over and have company as well. So here it is. This is a final look at the outside, and we will look at the final result in the inside as well. Looking at the interior now, we did start with the living room space, which honestly I am pretty happy with. It took a lot of trial and error in this room though, but here it is. It's very calm and serene, but also very contemporary, using a lot of eco lifestyle, tiny living, and even some parenthood in this space. I did change out the bookcase. I did that off camera, but there it is more or less. We did also keep this very large kitchen area as well, which does feature a whole bar setup here, which was pretty wild. Again, very hard to match with cabinets. I actually mixed and matched the spa day cabinets with the ones from base game as well. But we do now have a cozy coat rack over here and a nice little breakfast nook by the window as well. Moving on to the bedrooms now, we enter the bedroom of Miss Summer Holiday. So she was the first one to receive a room makeover, and unfortunately I did say goodbye to all of those blue tones, but the room is still very pink, lavender, very floral and feminine, if you will. And I tried to pay homage to her more social personality and also her love for fashion. Moving on now, we enter the bedroom of Mr. Travis Scott, and honestly, his room is probably my favorite. He is very geeky and computer savvy, so lots of video game references, anime. We do get some upgraded technology pieces here as well, and overall just a really cool space. The final room, of course, is that of Miss Liberty Lee, and I would say her room is probably the one I struggled the most with, but I did keep a few details from the original room. So we do have the panda sculpture here, we do have the clothing object as well, but overall her room does feel a lot more modern while still sticking true to her personality. Finishing off the build is the one and only bathroom, which unfortunately only had one towel rack for some reason. But sticking with the rules, I did use the Seasons Pack option instead, so at least there's two there. We did also receive an upgrade on the shower as well, and then some nice pops of color in the counter area, but more or less that wraps up the build itself. Overall, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this challenge, and of course, please feel free to let me know how I did in the comments below. Did I nail the build, or could I have done things a little bit better on the inside or outside? With that said, I will see you all in the next build challenge, and of course, just like always, this has been 𝗪𝗏 SimBuilds, signing off. Thank you so much for watching, guys.